Hello, my name is Richard Rudd and I am the founder and author of The Gene Keys. The Gene Keys is a big book and a great big synthesis of world wisdom drawn from many different disciplines. It's partly rooted in the Chinese I Ching. It also brings in sciences and things such as astrology, and it brings in all kinds of analysis of psychology and sociology, indigenous wisdom. Many other different streams of knowledge come together. And essentially the central purpose of the Gene Keys is to help you find your purpose, your higher purpose. And when I say higher purpose, I'm really referring to that inside every single one of us is something that we're here to bring to the world, some spark of genius. And that's what the Gene Keys is all about. That's what this book is about. I'm going to, over this series, show you how you can use this book to help unlock that spark and to bring that genius out into your life. I thought I'd begin by telling you a little bit about how the book came to be. Essentially, I was living a normal life, and funnily enough, I was going to be a wine merchant actually. That's my family trade. And I was in my early 20s, and I woke up one morning and everything had changed. I woke up into an altered state of consciousness, and it was a spontaneous event. It took me by surprise. It lasted for 3 days and 3 nights, and I didn't sleep in those 3 days and those 3 nights. But what I received is a huge amount of information from the cosmos, I guess. And it wasn't really in any form. It was almost like a memory. And one thing that was very powerful in that experience for me was that I had the experience that light was moving through my body. It was streaming out of the cells of my body, and it was streaming out of the DNA of my body. And that now has a great relevance, because as I have unraveled the meaning behind those 3 days over the past decade at least, and 2 decades, it's become this teaching called the Gene Keys. And the Gene Keys is all about the embodiment of a sacred wisdom that lies inside us, inside our physical body, so literally in the fabric of our DNA. And so working with the Gene Keys is a way of waking up and triggering that light, catalyzing that same light, that light of a higher consciousness that lives inside every single one of us. So as the Gene Keys has evolved and grown over the years since I've written the book, it's evolved into lots of different directions in a very broad way, and so it has lots of applications that you can explore. It has applications in organizations where you can examine different patterns that occur in groupings and teams. You can also examine and understand the way in which relationships work and the chemistry between people. And the component that adds astrology is very interesting. It creates a profile, a Gene Keys profile, which you can look at, and also it's another way of exploring the Gene Keys and using this book. The reason it's so broad is because it's based on a fundamental pattern that's found throughout nature, and that pattern is based on the number 64. Right down to the programming code of all our technology, which is based on 64-bit technology. Also our body, which is based on 64 codons, the genetic coding of the physical reality and all life. You also find it in the musical octave, and you find it in natural organic architecture through the phi ratio in all kinds of areas. So you'll see this same universal code keeps appearing throughout nature, and it also seems to be something that our ancestors understood quite well, because they caught it in their ancient systems, and particularly the Chinese, who encapsulated it in their amazing book, the I Ching, which has been understood as an oracle, as a way of understanding the patterns and rhythms and seasons of life as it flows. So the Gene Keys, it kind of dips and dives through all of this material because it's playing with this same universal code. But ultimately that code comes right back to us, to you, to your life. What can it do for you in your life? How can it improve your life? That's what the series is about, and that's what working with this book is about. It's about taking this information deep inside yourself and examining the things that are coming up, the things that you struggle with in your life, and you can use this book to help you understand those things and to release difficult patterns and to transform your nature into these higher essences, this light that's hidden in your DNA. That's something that you can use the gene keys to help release and then expand your life, your genius, your impact in the world, and indeed your very consciousness. So in the ancient Vedic culture of India, they had an amazing way of understanding how to work with a sacred text. And so I'd like you to think of this as a sacred text and to approach it in that way throughout this series. And the way they understood it is it has 3 phases. And the first phase was called Shravana. And Shravana means listening and imbibing and taking in. And this is the first thing. So I want to start by just doing a little exercise with you. So wherever you are, you just want to sit down, make yourself comfortable, maybe place your hands on your belly and just take a deep breath and come into a calm space inside yourself. And then just gently close your eyes and go inside yourself and think about your life right now. And think about something that you're finding difficult in your life right now. It can be anything, something you may be struggling with. It could be a person, it could be something that feels a bit out of your control, something that makes you feel a bit of pressure. And bring that to the forefront of your awareness. And what I want to invite you to do is, holding that in your awareness, to turn to the book. You can open your eyes and to hold the book and then to open the book at random at any page and then look at that page and read the place where your eyes are light naturally. And you're going to read that and then take some time to read that, and also you might like to read that whole chapter. So go back onto the beginning of the chapter if you need to and just read it to the end and then stop, and then you can pause while you're doing this and then come back and I'll take you to the next level. So the second phase of this exercise and the second approach by the Vedic teachers towards dealing with a sacred text, reading a sacred text, is called manana. And manana means deep distillation and contemplation. So what you do at this stage is you take the thing that you've read, and you might want to reread it, but you're going to go deeper into it this time, and you might take out a pencil and you could underline phrases that come up, and you're going to contemplate what you've read and see if there are certain things that come to light that connect with the challenge that you have brought to the forefront of your mind. So this is a process, a little bit of a process, and you need to use your intuition and you need to let your logical brain sink slightly to the background as you do this and bring it up, something that comes up inside your body perhaps, something that gives you a feeling, an uplifting feeling. That's what you're looking for, something that gives you a sense of inspiration. And so perhaps you can distill that down to an image or a memory that it might trigger in you. It might be a phrase, it might even just be a single word. And once you've distilled it in this phase, that's what you're looking for. You're looking to bring it out, the insight, the uplifting insight. So take your time with this phase, as long as you need, and just try and distill to that insight, that uplifting insight that comes from the text. The third and final phase of this exercise of working with a sacred text is called nididasana. And nididasana refers to the satori, refers to the revelation, as the information, as the spiritual insight, it goes deeper and deeper into the cells of your body, and then it catalyzes something back out, a feeling of expansion of some form, a feeling of releasing that light from within your DNA. For this last part, just close your eyes and take a breath and come back inside yourself. And allow those words, or that word, or those ideas, or that image that you've gathered in the second part throughout this exercise to just dissolve inside you like a pill, like you've swallowed a homeopathic pill and it's dissolving inside you, back into the bones, back into the DNA, back into the fabric of your being, so it disappears. And then what you do is you just wait and you open yourself. You open your mind, you open your heart, and you invite something to come. You invite a revelation to move through your being. It may take some time, it may come out later in the day, but just remain soft and open and allow it to come in its own timing. And that's Nididasana.